If y'all just pay attention up here and got something to say, stay outside and say, we're trying to get through this, or it's been a long night. Yes, time for citizen comments. We've got one special item on the agenda for downtown issues. If you got a citizen comment besides the issue other than that, just do it, and then you have 3 minutes to do that. And we'll have a longer discussion on the downtown issue. Anybody here anything besides the downtown issue?
Yeah, I do. I think it's an issue. Robert Rules is 64 in Narramore Way, Lula, Georgia. You know, I think it does need to be addressed. It's about time it got addressed. You know, I've got a young.
We're gonna do it. We got a special time to do all that.
Right. Okay. So
You got something else to say, some other topic?
no, this is just about downtown.
We're
We know
that.
about that.
This is just for us, other issues now. We'll get to that one in a minute.
Okay. Which one is this for?
Or anything that's not downtown related.
Anything other downtown?
It's like the tree surge.
Well,
The tree surge we got done this weekend on fallen trees. That'd be a great topic to discuss.
well, I tell you, y'all doing a great job keeping not all that going, but I still like to see a stop bar on Belton Bridge Road, so people would know which side of the road to come in on. And you travel down through there quite often, so you know what I'm talking about. I just don't understand why it's so hard to get a stop bar. I asked for it about 8 months ago to a year ago. You know, and all it is keep people from coming in on the wrong side of the road. They're still gonna do it, but then it'll be legally wrong to come in because there's a line there. Thank you.
Anybody else about issues other than downtown?
This isn't about downtown, but it is about the little
What's your
area.
name?
My name's Jody White. Do you need my address?
It's 5160 Mile Road.
Yep. How'd you guess? I just want to know how you guys all feel about this new Cagle Mill, the 320 properties going in. Whether you like it or not, the reality is it affects downtown Lula, and it affects all the surrounding roads. Lula Road down, it's going to filter into downtown Lula Road, Old Cornelia Highway, 365. It's going to cause a lot of issues, and I just wanted to know what your standpoint was with it.
We don't really respond to it. We'll address that later. Thank you for the question. About that, I'll address it to a slight extent right now, but the council can respond later when they want to.
Okay.
But that's a Hall County Commissioner's issue. We have no say in that. We have our personal opinions. Actually, the city, we cannot really influence a whole lot. But we can speak individually, but as a governing body, we can't really speak to that because it's a Hall County government issue.
Okay. Thank you.
That's my understanding of it anyway, so maybe I'm wrong. Anybody else? Okay, now, I got the agenda for it. Now, I've seen one change at the bottom because just off the side on Tuesday the 30th, it's actually Monday the 30th.
Correct.
You change it, you need to make it the agenda. That's the only nice part is. I entertain a motion. Approve the agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Denise, second by Juliet, to approve the agenda. On both say aye.
Aye.
All those say no. It's approved. Okay, first topic on the agenda is the open comments. We don't want to get really rowdy and hurt or attack anybody with these, but we want to address it in a calm and civil manner. I don't know where you want to start at. Frank, you want to start us off? Let me start. Me, thanks. This got brought to our attention by Governor a couple of weeks ago downtown, and the city council was working on some issues concerning ordinances that we might adopt to do this. But I'll open the floor to anyone who wants to come speak on that. I have a request from Dave Millihan. You want to pick on this now, Dave? You want to wait a little later?
On the downtown?
Yeah.
No, do it now. Okay, because I'm a little bit, I'm sorry. David Milligan, Hemlock Street. I'd like to start by saying some residents are worried about giving their full name and address for fear of retaliation having been harassed on social media. I'm sure we can accommodate them. Also, I have no intention of speaking about the incident involving Dave Wilson. I understand the tenant of the laundromat is present tonight and plans on speaking. I've seen a quote from him stating that nothing happens at the laundromat at night as he has video cameras installed inside. I'm wondering why there are no cameras covering the parking lot where the deals are being done. They used to be on the building, but the owner removed them. It's odd that the public lot isn't covered. Secondly, I'm sure the gentleman is unaware that there are deals being done in broad daylight, some from yesterday. I and multiple people question the need for a 24-hour laundromat in such a tiny city. I have personally witnessed vehicles coming and going in the early hours with no laundry being done. Seems like it's a hangout for some nefarious people. They play loud music, rev their cars and make a general nuisance of themselves. From what I can find out, all county quiet hours are 10 or 11 p.m. I've seen both times quoted until 7 a.m. And anyone disturbing someone's right to peace and relaxation in their own residence is in violation. The business is subject to censure by the courts if it is taken that far. Also, what I found out is neighbours' law, which stays pretty much the same, but I'll defer to Mr. Hammonds for that knowledge on that. There are people who live above the mercantile whose peace and comfort are being disturbed on a regular basis. There's also the problem of people using the alleyway between the buildings as a bathroom, urinating and defecating because the bathroom in the laundromat is locked. Also, there are photos of handfuls of used syringes that were picked up in the alleyway. He also states in his opinions the homeless people who gather the real mercantile are the problem. These people have been moved on and hanged out further down the street. If you knew anything about the town and its residents, you would recognise that the people causing the problem aren't from Lula at all. I believe the solution is close the business at 10 p.m, hire staff or on-site security. There has to be something done to resolve this problem. I've spoken to Hall County Sheriff's Office investigators and been assured of increased patrols. I fully understand there are problems with homelessness and there is a drug problem. We have to start somewhere to alleviate these problems, and I firmly believe this is the place to start. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Is the owner of the business here? Would you like to come over and speak, sir? I heard he's going to be here.
Yeah. I'm Chris. I own the laundromat.
You got your last name, Hoyce?
Boys, OIS. I mean, y'all say I have issues at the laundromat. I got 24-hour surveillance, and I can record everything. I can see everything, and there's no. I mean, once in a while there's an issue, of course, but I don't have any kind of record of drug deals or prostitution, whatever you are saying about my laundromat. You can call the Hall County Department of Police and ask them too. There's no record of any kind of drug, issues there. I will say this though, y'all have a problem with the homeless here. You have 4 homeless guys that go back and forth. They start at the bridge, they go past my laundromat, and they go right to Dave's house, okay? They do that probably 100 times a day. And if you don't believe me, just stand out there in the parking lot over there and watch them go back and forth, back and forth. And then, regardless of what this guy just said, Dave's over there playing loud music, drinking, socializing with the homeless people, and they go back and forth. I got them on camera. So I mean, y'all are coming after me, but the real problem is them coming back behind my building to Dave's house, right? And it's kind of interesting though. Dave's been locked up how long? 2 weeks? It's been 2 weeks? I don't know. But the last 2 weeks has been pretty quiet back there. Wonder why, right? No one's traveling back and forth. So I mean, it's interesting how that works, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's like I said, there's 4 people that go back and forth daily, right? So I don't understand why I'm getting targeted for this issue when y'all have drug dealers who's been arrested several times, who's beaten up women several times, and y'all come after me, a small businessman, because you think it's at my laundromat. I want to see some evidence that this is happening in my laundromat.
Say less. There's no evidence.
Just go ahead, let me see it. I mean, what gets me though is, if y'all have evidence, why haven't y'all told me, right? Why haven't you called me? There's a number on the door, it goes straight to my cell number, right? You can call me anytime and say, hey, this is happening in your laundromat, check the cameras. Like I said, I got 16 cameras, I'll check it, you know? This whole thing with Dave, I had to get the cameras for the police to see what Dave was doing, right? So I have evidence, I mean, I got a ton of cameras, so I can see everything. But if y'all don't tell me what the problem is, I can't fix it, you know?
Thank you, Chris.
Repeat that.
My name's Rooster. You know where I live. I used to own a managed farm before. And I'll tell you now.
Wait a minute.
I know. I just want to make sure he knows. So first off, as a public owner, a business owner, if you're a customer, you have a right to use a bathroom. But he keeps his locked. We all know Dave. Dave's done more for this community than most people who've lived here over 30 years. He organizes. He gathers. He talks to people that everyone is arguing with. And he's friendly. It don't matter which side you're on. Dave took care of some of those homeless people. That young man, I don't know his name, Chris, right? Chris is correct. We have a homeless problem in Lula. And no one is doing nothing about it. And I can tell you, when I worked at a managed farm before, I have personally seen Hall County drop off people at 7 o'clock in the morning in that parking lot right there between Amanda's farm before in the caboose. Banging on the windows, snot just drawing down her face. Begging my wife to use the phone to call someone. There is a homeless problem here. But he wants proof. There's needles, there's defecation, all that's there. We really gonna punish Dave for what's going on in his house? He can say Dave's drinking, Dave's playing loud music, but you don't know that. If you have a kid that's hit the age of 13, you know what it's like to be in a house and someone playing loud music. You're not playing it, your child is. Because Dave allows people to stay in his back room so they're not cold, they're not hungry, they're not being exposed to the elements, we can't punish Dave for this. This is wrong. Maybe we should do something about the homeless people. Maybe if he would open his bathrooms to his customers, there wouldn't be needles on the ground outside his business, or there wouldn't be defecation. It would be all taken care of. But he is correct. He is not the problem. It is, again, the homeless. Fix that problem. All the others will fade away. And trying to make him close his business at a certain hour, I'm sorry, I'm a constitutionalist. I don't want none of that government reach. If he paid for the license, he's got the right to stay open. He has cameras, he's doing everything he's supposed to do. He didn't do it. Dave didn't do it. The homeless. And I like those guys. But still, not everyone is gonna be like me, or like you, or even you, Joe. I mean, we went back and forth, but we still shook hands and talked to each other every time we seen each other. It's loving and caring. Dave exemplifies everything that good book tells you to do. He just loves and loves and loves, and he don't care. He don't care what you look like, what you smell like. He don't care if you're homeless. He don't care if you make $1 million. Dave helps people because Dave is about community. So Dave's not the issue. The homeless is.
Thank you, Rudy.
Can I go back up there?
If you'll let others speak, and then you can have other time, it's public comment. Thank you.
No.
Yes, Loretta Grizzle, 6400 Narrow Way. There is a homeless problem, but the homeless problem is not the only problem. I get a daily alert of the assaults, incidents that happen, pedophiles that move in, and for the last 6 months, it has tripled.
How County or Lula?
It's Lula. It's Lula. It's our area, and it's called Neighborhood Alert, and it is a big issue. And if we get more homes in here, what do y'all think's gonna happen? Do you think it's gonna go away? It's gonna get worse. And like you said, it is a homeless problem, a prostitute problem. We came out of karate, seen it right there in front of the kids. But nobody has taken the issues and done anything about it. We just keep moving more people in before we deal with it. But it's getting out of hand. And if y'all don't know what this app is, well, it ain't an app. You can download it. You get pedophiles that move into your area. Crime. It doesn't matter if it's domestics or what, but I'm gonna tell you, most of them are happening here on Main Street. And it's tripled in the last 6 months. So, that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Ruth. Robert Biden.
All right, now talk about it. All right, Robert Grizzle, 61 in Everett Way. You know, first I'd like to talk about what Chris and Rooster did. I'm on both sides of that. He shouldn't be told when he can operate his business. He should be able to operate it 24 hours a day if he wants to. I don't agree with the bathrooms being locked. If you're running a business open to the public, a service like that, you are to provide bathrooms that they can access. But there's new technology that could make it accessible only to his patrons that are, you know, doing their laundry in that laundromat, not to everybody coming and going. Because we do have a homeless problem, as everybody's been saying. You know, what I was about to say a while ago, you know, I've said something to the people at the store, but I can understand their point. They don't want to make the homeless people too mad at them, because they're going to come back at night and vandalize the store. But you can't go down there without being propositioned. On a Friday evening, you go around 5, 6 o'clock, you're going to get propositioned, openly propositioned by prostitutes that are walking the streets. I was naive to a lot of this stuff going on until about a year and a half ago, how bad the prostitution was here. And evidently it was known, and the magnet is the railroad workers. So they actually have a person bringing in the prostitutes for them. So that should be handled. The homeless, you know, I call him Red, the redheaded boy down there. I've asked him to stay away from me when I've got my granddaughter with me or my wife. The other night, Loretta and I went to the store in my car. There he comes. And I told him, I was like, stay away from the car. He said, well, I just want to look at it. I'm like, well, stay away from it. Loretta's in there, stay away from the car. So I went in the store. Do you think you stay away? No. He's in there aggravating her. Now, the boy used to be a hard worker. I've seen it with my own eyes. I couldn't believe it. It was shocked me the first time he come to me and asked for $3. And I gave it to him because I'm like, man, you should have got paid. You worked for the septic tank. I've seen him work hard, but now he's a drunk. And he aggravates everybody, and not just him. There's others, and I'm not talking about John and Ronnie that works there. They're good folks. They're just, you know, different. But they're not homeless. But something's got to be done. Like he said, see people coming up, and Hall County will. They'll bring the people out of Gainesville, and they'll drop them off there. Cumming will bring the people out of Cumming and drop them off in Hall County. Hall County will get them and bring them anywhere else, take them up to Thurley or take them here and drop them off. That's what they do. That's an open thing that the sheriff's department will get them, take them somewhere else. And we've been being a magnet for that thing, because one thing, they've had too many things given to them up here. That needs to be addressed. You know, the store needs to address it, what they can do to keep them away, because it's getting aggravating to go to the store to get something in the afternoon or at night, and you got 4 or 5 homeless guys sitting there. Thank you.
My name is Aiken. I live on Main Street with Dave Wilson as well. And I can assure you that there are people walking up and down that street and Carter Alley all the time, whom of which I and my father have both tried to feed and tried to give clothes and tried to give them a place where they could just realize they don't have to live the lives that they're trying to live right now. And with that, I'm all for small business, and I'm not trying to suggest to anybody that they need to do anything with their business, but I would greatly appreciate compromise and at least some attention to what's going on, because I have witnessed multiple domestic violence events in your parking lot. I have witnessed a few drug deals myself, and had to remove myself from the situation because of my fear for my own safety. I live just a few feet from this business, and I should not have to live in the way that I have to live. As of right now, it's scary to be outside at nighttime. It's scary to say something in front of people right now. It's tough to talk. It's tough to be able to call the police. It's because there's no one else right there that experiences what I experience in my home. Because we're the only ones there 24 hours a day. Right outside of my window, there's people at 3 o'clock in the morning when I have school in the morning who are playing loud music out of their cars, as loud as it can possibly be. You know, you can go out there and you can ask them to quit, but you're picking a fight half the time. And that's not something that I should have to deal with or any other citizen in this city should have to deal with. Now the thing is, I really do think it all comes down to a homeless issue. I don't think it comes down to Chris's business. However, I've noticed that it's become a hotspot for activities of this sort. There's never people coming to my house for any reason. They come through Carter Alley or from the bridge, and they'll use the back street and use the alley to go back around through. And if they are coming to my house, it's so that they can get something to eat. Because as much as I dislike the issue of drugs and homeless in the city, I'm going to do everything in my power to help these people get out of this situation, because that's what I'm called to do. And I just really would appreciate the consideration and thought from everybody else in the city trying to help us do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
In reference to, I'm Dave Milling, I still live on Hemlock Street, I hope. In reference to the gentleman saying there's no evidence, I got 2 videos on my phone from yesterday clearly showing drug dealers out front of his building.
How can nobody else?
Sir, if you wanted to come back up, I'm sorry, Amanda's.
So I had a question. Everybody knows me, Amanda. So when I had the restaurant, I had a few situations, and Dennis called the sheriff, and they would actually have extra drive-bys. Have any of you thought of doing that? I mean, he would, if I told Dennis that I had to be at work at 4 o'clock in the morning, because it was dangerous, it's always been dangerous, he would have an officer make sure that they did several drive-bys. I never had to call them myself, he would call them. Have any of you thought about doing that for the city? Asking for extra patrols, asking them to come out more frequently during certain times. They are available, that's what they're there for. This is Hall County. Even though we're in the city, they will come. Frank? It would be up to you as the city manager. You're the one that would have to handle that.
They've been talking. They have been.
We're having discussions.
Discussions is not enough. You have to be adamant. It's like the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You have to call all the time. And I know that Dennis, who had been here forever, had a little bit more push with people. And I know you're new, but it would be an opportunity for you to get out there and get into it.
We're having discussions. That's all I can say at this time.
That means we're not getting anything done.
All right, can I ask a question?
Come on up here.
Does anybody else want to get up?
No.
Come on, man.
Go for it. I'll go.
My name is Ty. I live at 5965 Main Street, Boone, Georgia. I will totally agree with what was just said. It is 100% an issue with not having enough patrol. That is the biggest thing. I mean, I've witnessed domestic violence, drug deals, loud music, car alarms, everything between the hours of between pretty much 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And I've witnessed this at Lula Grocery, I've witnessed this at the Lula Bridge, I've witnessed this at the laundromat. I've seen cops called and taken hours to show, if they show at all. And when they do show, I've been told by several officers that there's nothing they can do, even when they can clearly tell certain individuals are under the influence, or that domestic violence has occurred, even when you show them a video. They say there's nothing they can do. And I mean, I've watched this night after night. I'm currently studying to be a mechanical engineer. I'm up late at night. I have to be up really early in the morning, and sleep deprivation is just a part of my life right now. But when I'm met with this outside of my window every single night, it's just unbearable. I mean, truthfully, my future and safety are on the line on this. But I've got a heart for the people of this town, and I believe that together we can make the first step to show others the Lula community that we all know and love. And I think that the first step is making sure that there are increased patrols. I've gone down to talk to the beat units. They say that there are patrols, and I never see them. So where are they? What can we do about this problem? Have more discussions? I mean, I would just like to be able to feel safe at night. I'd like to be able to go on a walk at night. I pray that we can all just pull together and find some kind of solution for this. And I don't think that this is all Chris's fault. I don't think that it's your business. I really don't. I fully agree with the freedom to run your business however many hours you want, but
there has to be somebody like paying attention to what is happening. There needs to be an attendant, there needs to be police, there needs to be something. Thank you.
You. All right, Glenn, come on.
Thank you, Joe. And sit a while, about 30 minutes. Oh, Lord help us.
For the record, Gwen Kelly.
Thank you. Okay, I'm a member of the Little Ladies Society that hosts the Loads of Love events several Fridays during the year. We donate money, laundry detergent, softener, and dryer sheets to help the struggling families do their laundry at the laundromat. This gives back to the community and supports our small business. I'm the secretary of the Historical Society of Lula Belton, which hosts events during the year to promote the history of Lula, our town, and small business. We have events of car shows in June, Fall Festival, September, participate in the city's events of Railroad Days and Christmas Parade, and I and other members leave late at night after meetings, events, as well as City Hall meetings, which this is going to go a while. Driving past the laundromat, I've witnessed a young man during the Fall Festival last September injecting a needle into the veins of the inside of his elbow during the late afternoon, and later in the evening, loitering inside and out of the laundromat. I have found hypodermic syringes on the grass outside the laundromat. I have seen piles of human poop on the grass near the outer wall of the laundromat and urine stains on the building wall. I have talked to the residents next door to the laundromat, and they've told me that after dark, people show up opening the trunk and doors of their cars, turning up the sound systems inside the cars, and making the laundromat their party. Vehicles have been damaged, fights broke out, drug deals, drug use, alcohol abuse. Hall County deputies have been called around 2 a.m. to 3 a.m., which is their prime time, because Hall County's not precious. If police show up, it takes 45 minutes to an hour and the people have already left. The improperly disposed needles can be picked up by children passing by or local animals that could take these back to their owner's home. The needles are contaminated and a risk of HIV, AIDS, TB, hepatitis, staph, strep, MRSA, as well as other bacterial pathogens. The original owners of the laundromat closed at 7. The current owners are keeping it open 24/7. It's not manned, there's no security guard, and they're depending on the video equipment inside the building and outside the building. And no, Chris, I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm getting to that. With all I've seen and been told as first-hand information, the current violations are public nudity, public defecation, improper disposal of hazardous waste contaminated with bodily fluids, violence, vandalism, noise ordinance violations, public drunkenness, illegal drug use, and drug sales. These issues are common with businesses that are open 24 hours a day, especially those that have no supervision or employees at the business. If we want to maintain that small town feel, I request that the council enforce the noise ordinance currently on the books and pass an additional ordinance requiring businesses in the downtown area within 500 feet of a residence be closed from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Yes, it is homeless. I have been approached many times by people until I finally told one, you're going to get your job. But this is getting bad. It's getting really bad. And yes, ma'am, I understand. I have also looked at Hall County's sex offender list, and I was very upset of how many within walking distance of my house. So I suggest that we all start calling just constantly. But we need to work together with you to see what we can do, because we need to help you out too. We have tried to promote businesses around here. We're not trying to pick on you. Hmm?
What's your name?
When? And that's all I got to say.
Anybody else?
The gentleman wanted to come back, but I'd asked that there were other people be allowed to be heard first.
Okay, the reason why I closed my restrooms is because of the homeless population. Okay, the last month or so it actually has been open, but because I've been controlling the population of the homeless, right? They come in and out because they use my bathroom, because this one over here, the public one, is actually closed because y'all have an issue with the homeless population, right? So y'all close it, right? It makes sense, okay? I love Dave. Dave's a good guy, right? But Dave is an enabler to the homeless population, okay? The people that he's feeding are the drug ones, right? Or the ones that do drugs, the ones that they sell to kids, they sell to families, whatever the case is. They're the ones that actually are bad for your town, right? And he's feeding them. I understand that, but the problem is that's a problem, right, in town, because they're bad people, right? They're eventually bad people. The guy with the bad arm, he's no good. Check his criminal record. Beating up women, drug deals, all kinds of issues. He's over at Dave's a lot, and he goes through. Yeah, I see him go that way all the time. Hey, I see him go back and forth. I don't know where he's going. He goes.
Go ahead. The comments need to come to the council.
He goes between my building. I don't know where he goes after that. Right?
Could be going in here.
I don't think so. He does it almost 100 times a day. He does it almost 100 times a day. Right? And then Radar, the other guy, right, who they feed also, is a criminal also. I have him on tape stealing my customers' clothes, right? He's stealing my customers' clothes. I met the police up here last year. Dave was out there doing a barbecue with Radar. I guess his name's really Robert. And I was trying to have him arrested. They couldn't arrest him because he didn't have any priors at the laundromat, so they gave him a citation, whatever the case is. So I mean, I think if we fix the homeless population, a lot of this will clear up. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I came to Lula 4.5 years ago and said, y'all have a homeless issue, and nothing was done. So I had to do it myself. And Hall County Police are amazing. When I call them, they come up within 10 minutes. I can call them at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can call them at 4 o'clock in the morning, or I can call them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They're here pretty quick, and they've been amazing. And they do patrol this area once in a while if they're coming through. They do check it out and make sure the laundromat's okay, but it's not just me. I mean, I don't know if the grocery store is not here, but it's all the businesses on Main Street that we are affected by the homeless. They walk back and forth, and I'm not sure how this is a good thing for a town with families. How, like this gentleman was saying, how do you go to the grocery store with your kid and the homeless guy's asking you for money, right? I mean, that happens daily, and I don't know. I mean, that seems like the first thing to do is take care of the population of the homeless, right? That's just my question. I mean, my opinion, but.
Thank you, Chris.
I have something to say. Brenda Rose, 6022 Cobb Street. So obviously there's a homeless problem. Everybody keeps mentioning it. And I also feel that people should run their business however they choose. However, if your business invites crime, for example, a laundromat, how many upstanding good people go to a laundromat to do laundry at midnight, 2, 3, 4 in the morning?
Second shift workers.
Okay, maybe. And so I'm not saying there's none. I'm not saying there's not a need for that. How much business comes in between midnight and 6? Okay, so you don't know, but what it is, since it's open 24/7, it's a known thing out there in the homeless world to where they can go, where they can hang out without a problem, where they can, do whatever they do, drugs, whatever. So I heard and by the way, I don't think feeding the homeless is a crime. And once they go off camera, you don't know if they're going to Dave's or wherever they're going. And if they are going to Dave's, so what? He's feeding them, so what? But if I lost my train of thought. Okay, so all the homeless people are mentioned on foot, but this incident involves a car. So the homeless people around here don't have cars, so these people are coming in from another area in cars to hang out there. That's my point. Thank you.
I don't know how much I can say about Dave's incident, but those two people were actually customers that went inside my laundromat. And Dave was the one walking around with a gun shooting in the air, and going on the side of my building, right? That was Dave.
But that's beyond.
I'm just saying, I'm getting torn up here because Dave's such a good guy. He's a good guy.
Nobody's attacking you.
Yeah, you are.
No, they're
She
not
is.
attacking you.
Really?
But you also can't speak about that case either.
Okay, listen, I mean, I'm being attacked, I think.
You're not being attacked.
Okay,
We're not gonna try this here.
my laundromat
No,
is
we're
being
not
attacked.
trying it here.
This lady just said everybody that comes to my laundromat is bad at night.
That is not what she said.
She did. Am I lying?
Those are not the words she put.
She just said anybody that's good.
Y'all take this out of the park, now, we got a meeting conduct. Now,
What I said,
What
I said-
I've listened to y'all.
excuse me, maybe I misspoke when I said most upstanding citizens don't frequent that businesses at that time of night. But then I didn't think of the steel workers, whatever he mentioned. But honestly,
All right, let's,
okay, okay.
we're through debating this. Y'all take this outside.
Wait a minute.
Take it outside.
We're out of order now, because this is a public hearing for this council. It's not an opportunity to go back and forth.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Now, give y'all a chance, everybody spoken? No? No, let's just cut this conversation off about downtown, we're gonna get on our agenda. We got too many things to take care of, and we're just repeating the same thing over and over again now. That's where we're at, we're repeating the same thing over and over again.
He hasn't spoken yet.
I think you'd be good.
Bring it. No, this fella can speak, and then we'll shut it down.
So, you bought the laundromat, when, 4 years ago? The first thing he's brought to my attention was the homeless problem. And that's what everybody on this, Preston Noise, his son.
Okay.
Yes, sir, sorry.
Thank you.
And everyone's been saying, kind of saying the same thing, which is homeless problem. If we fix that, what's the problem?
We've said that 14 times now.
I know that,
We're not
so
gonna
we
fix
should
that
just
tonight.
focus on fixing the
We're not gonna
problem.
fix that tonight.
Of course not, but it's also been a problem for the past 4 years.
You're right.
But if that's been
It's
fixed,
being considered.
sorry,
We're trying to figure out how to fix it.
okay.
We're not doing.
That's all I really want to say, because if that's fixed, then my dad will stop getting blamed for having his business being shut down. Because if y'all owned a business, would y'all want that get shut down tonight? Losing money? No, of course
How much
not.
money could it possibly make it?
All right, now, all right, Phil, get up here. No, we're trying to listen up here too, y'all.
Okay.
We're trying to listen up here too. Y'all take that out of part of that discussion.
Y'all listen to the general public now. Are you gonna just blow it off? Or are you gonna take it into consideration? Now, here it goes again. You need to get a you need to get a police station up here. So you can turn around and get your, grants and stuff like that. That's something you can consider. Now, I've been bringing it up over years. You don't need residential or retail or commercial, period. You see what it costs. I mean, so you take that into consideration. Now, if you're worried about everybody hanging out downtown, do away with the picnic tables that y'all provide, and where you can monitor everything. But anyway, appreciate it.
Thank you, Phil. We're just about to beat this issue to death tonight. We can't do anything about it. Council is aware of the issue. We're trying to work out resolutions and ordinances and other ways to solve the problem, or we're not gonna do it tonight. Now, I don't want to hear more about this issue now, we'll carry on the meeting. So y'all will continue the discussion, y'all talk, go outside and do it, or you sit right there and listen to us. All right, Joe.
We have a joint meeting tonight, and so for the planning commission, appreciate y'all's patience. We will call that meeting to order so that we can proceed on with the public hearing, the joint public hearing. Does anybody on the planning commission have any other items or any changes to your agenda?
No, that's all we have.
All right. So the planning commission agenda is also approved. Councilmember Llewellyn has recused himself by removing himself from the dice so that we can move forward with the public hearing. Ladies and gentlemen, yes,
In the room?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't want to create any sense of impropriety.
Yes. The Planning Commission and the Council of the City of Lula shall now proceed with a public hearing regarding property located at 6492 7th Street in Lula, Hall County Tax Parcel number 09065 000007. The Pacific Group, Inc. seeks to rezone the property consisting of 30.27 acres from agricultural to planned residential development to develop 87 lots with 9.85 acres of primary open space as shown on the site plan submitted with the application. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
If you'll come forward, please. The process we're going to have tonight for this public hearing, which is a joint public hearing, is the applicant will make an opening presentation. I will then call for those who are here to speak in favor of the request. If that is one of the purposes for which you're here tonight, that would be your opportunity to speak. I will then say, are there any folks here to speak in opposition to the request? If that is one of the reasons that you are here tonight, then that will be your opportunity to speak. We will then allow the applicant to come back and make any response to those in opposition. This is an unusual situation in that we're having a joint public hearing. The Planning Commission makes recommendations to the council, so at the conclusion of the public hearing, the Planning Commission will proceed, since they now have their meeting called to order. The Planning Commission will proceed to have their discussion about whether they wish to proceed with making a recommendation tonight or not. The council is here to hear this public hearing, and we will have another public hearing next Monday night during the council meeting that begins at 7 o'clock over this very same application. So if you're here for this matter, then you may want to return next week for that public hearing. With that, I'll turn this over to the applicant to make a presentation to the Planning Commission and the council regarding your application.
All right, thank you very much. Good evening, members of the Planning Commission, Council, and Mayor Thomas. Thanks for having us tonight. My name is Ray Cunliffe. I'm one of the owners of the Pacific Group.
Can you spell that? Is it
Cunliffe? Yeah, Cunliffe. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Kevin Seifert, who has been here in the past, is my partner and is out of town. But both Richard Cooper and Ralph Davia are here along with myself to answer any questions and for this presentation. We're currently under development with our Moss Farm project on Athens Street. Moss Farm is zoned PRD and permitted for 480 lots. The proposed zoning we're here for tonight is 30 acres that's adjacent to Moss Farm, and as shown in that site plan to my right, your left. I believe Mr. Etheridge sent out a staff report. I think it has 30 conditions along with the zoning. And we can go through each of them, but I think there's two that we would like to make modifications to. But we'll get to that a little later. I think the most important reason we feel our proposed plan is the best plan for the property owner, the neighbors, and the city as a whole is because we can provide access to these 30 acres directly from our Moss Farm site. And in doing so, we'll guarantee there will be no unwanted traffic on 7th Street now or in the future. The proposed zoning conditions mirror the applicable conditions of the Moss Farm community. And we are happy to read through those if the board would like us to, but again, they're in the staff report. But there's two conditions that we'd like to propose revisions to. Number 3 and 21, which I'll address in a minute. Otherwise, we'd like to reserve our time for answering questions later in the presentation. So the two conditions that we'd like to make different than what was in the staff report is condition number 3. And we would propose that it's read as follows. Amenities in the Moss Farm PRD shall include a swimming pool with medium junior Olympic size, at least 3 tennis courts, and a minimum 1,500 heated square foot clubhouse. Amenities must be completed prior to the 100th building permit being released or issued by the city. Amenities for the 87 lots in this PRD request shall be available from the existing Moss Farm PRD. So that's how we propose it reads. And then the next is condition 21, and we propose the condition to be read as follows. All improvements to the property shall meet or exceed minimum development standards as adopted and amended at time of zoning approval. Vesting shall not exceed 10 years. We hope that you were able to vote in favor of this rezoning to PRD tonight with the proposed conditions that we presented, and along with those that are in the staff report presented by Frank. And we look forward to continuing to work with the city of Lula in the future on our current project and the proposed zoning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions at this point from the council for the applicant?
Can you repeat the changes on number 3 that you wanted, please?
Yeah, I'll read it in full again.
Okay.
Is that helpful? Okay.
That will help, yes.
Okay, so we propose it reads, and we can email this out this evening as well, but, so it reads, amenities in the Moss Farm PRD shall include a swimming pool with a minimum junior Olympic size, at least 3 tennis courts, and a minimum 1,500 heated square foot clubhouse. Amenities must be completed prior to the 100th building permit being issued by the city. Amenities for the 87 lots in this PRD request shall be available from the existing Moss Farm PRD. So because these 87 lots will have access through the Moss Farm community, they'll also have access to the Moss Farm amenity. You're welcome.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this request? Anyone here to speak in favor? Come up, please.
Okay, Felton Wood, got one question.
Wait a minute, just make your comment, public hearing, just make your comment, and then we'll see if we can get your question in.
Okay, I just want to make sure the $500 does not go to East Hall High School, middle school. It goes to Lula Elementary. In the first part of the subdivision on Athens Street, they agreed to pay for each house $500 to Lula Elementary. And also, who's going to take care of the fire and rescue roads? Should be 2 of them, in and in the backside back here. Are they going to take care of it, or is the city going to have to take care of it?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else here to speak in favor of the request?
I'm in favor of it. I think it'd be good. I think it'd be good. I appreciate Councilman Llewellyn to recuse himself from the vote on this. You know, this plan is a much better plan that was presented a couple of years ago. These are good builders. Obviously, they really care about Lula. They've got up and walked out of here now.
That was Robert Grizzle, Narramore Way. Anyone else here to speak in favor of the request? Anyone else here to speak in favor of this request? Is anyone here to speak against the request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this request? I'm sorry, yes ma'am, come up please. I'm sorry, I just couldn't see your hand there, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Lyle. I live on Pine Street. I don't care how much you build. I just want to know, that cemetery is down there, right? Is it going to affect the cemetery? None. Yeah. Okay, if you say so.
Have my word on it. Most folks don't think I word much, but it is.
Anyone else here to speak in opposition to this request? Anyone else here to speak in opposition? Okay. Applicant, any response to any of the comments that you heard, sir? I will take that as no. Any questions from council? Oh, I'm sorry.
Just for a point of clarification, Frank, is one of the conditions, it does carry over the 500 contribution for the elementary school?
It does carry over. It is item number 10.
Okay.
And it's not 500. It is.
250 rather than 150 high school.
150. Yeah. 250 to the elementary and 150 to the high school.
Okay, so to answer the question, yes. As proposed, it's 150 to the high school and 250 to the elementary?
Yes.
250 elementary, 150 middle
Right.
school. Middle school.
Middle school.
Yes.
Not high school.
I'm sorry.
Nothing to the high school.
Right.
Nothing to the high school.
Sorry.
And then in terms of the fire and rescue roads, I believe they are designed to be within public right of way. So
They will be part of the public right of way.
they are public right of way. So I think the question was, or who's maintaining them? They would be publicly maintained right of way.
George, for high school, can I ask you
Yes, I was just gonna ask, anybody have any questions for the applicant?
a couple of things? Your timeline on this, build out. Y'all start off 4 years, Ross, is that correct?
I'm sorry, did we start out 4 years?
4 and 8 years and 4 years, what your goal was or what the build out was?
To have all the homes completed?
Yes.
Potentially, so.
So where my,
Like-
I'll say 120 years, what we agreed.
It won't be 120 years, I hope, no.
120 a year.
Oh.
120 homes a year.
Yeah.
I think that's what.
That's right, because there's three, yeah, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Because there is 3 different product types.
I don't see it in the conditions, but there are.
I think that would be something, I mean, it's obviously very market dependent.
Right, I realize that. So what will this 87 do to your timeline? Are you gonna try to do it simultaneously? You're gonna try to do it?
It'll be added to the end, so it'll be, probably add another year and a half to the project of the build-up.
So we're talking about 2030, we'll have a whole subdivision, maybe.
Yes, I would hope so,
5 years.
yeah. Yeah.
If it sells, but we got one set at 15 years before it's sold out, so.
Yeah,
we don't
I hope
want
that's
that.
not the case.
And what size of houses you building the lots?
So these additional lots, they're 48-foot wide, so they would be 38-foot wide by 38-foot wide homes.
But the
No.
condition of 2H, which comes from the original, is the original is all lots shall have homes with a minimum heated floor area excluding garage of 1,600 square feet for a 1-story, 1,800 square feet heated floor space for a 2-story home, including the following. So if it's part of Moss Farms, at least 25% of the lots in overall Moss Farms PRD shall have homes with a minimum heated floor area excluding garage of 2,000 square feet heated floor space. So the minimum on 1 floor is 1,600, the minimum on 2 is 18, and at least 25 of the total have to be over 2,000.
Reason I shook my head, no, you had a 48-foot wide lot, you got 8-foot setbacks on each side, that subtracts 16 feet. That's a 32-foot lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Not a
I glanced over and.
We're even, right?
Yeah.
I said, wait a minute. I didn't add up right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any question from the planning commission members of the applicant?
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
So we're at a 48-foot lot,
Is that where we're at?
Yes, sir.
On these additional 87, yeah.
Exactly. And, back to, condition number 6, developer contribute $500 to the city for Lula traffic signal improvements.
Yeah.
If GDOT has not approved a traffic signal by December 31st, 2025, the city can use these funds toward any street improvement project within the city limits.
326.
For the original 480, it's 2025.
Right.
For these proposed 87, it would be 2026. I'm looking at page 12 and 13.
12, 13. Okay, anyway, my question is, can we, and this may be a question for the council, designate it definitely for traffic signal improvements only for Athens Street? Because I think somewhere down the road.
You got paving instead of putting light out there, don't you?
Exactly.
You're talking about putting it in a, like a
Yeah,
whole new fund
yeah.
for that.
Let me address that, and I think part of the reason the dates are there is because all the plans from GDOT dealing with 365 do not include any specific improvements to the Athens Street intersection, and from their definition, Athens Street intersection is too close to the 52 intersection, so it would hamper traffic on 365. So we will continue discussions with GDOT. The ability of getting a traffic light is slim. It in itself, because it would have other impacts that GDOT would not want. But to address other opportunities at that intersection, whether that's a right turn lane for the time being, or other options that GDOT might support, yes, that money, the funds would stay on Athens Street.
Yeah, I would think by the time the build out is complete in 5 years, we're gonna know where we need some traffic improvement there or not. And
Certainly.
if we've got a little savings account over here to say, okay, DOT, we've got this, we can apply to it, y'all step up to the plate there and help us out some. We might be able to get a little better response.
No, those funds would stay segregated and restricted.
Yeah, okay.
They would not be going to the general fund as unrestricted. They would stay as restricted funds.
Okay. All right.
Is that restricted only for street improvements?
Yeah, it would be restricted to.
But not restricted to Athens Street?
No, we would restrict that to Athens Street under the way this is written. It would not be able to be used elsewhere in town. Their impact is on Athens Street.
So can we make sure that's clear in point 6, because it doesn't state it that way? It says toward any street improvements within the city limits. Because Athens Street's gonna take the impact of that, it already is.
And you're right, the way it is written there, and that's a carryover from the original, it is for any street in town, but I believe council's intent would expect it to be expended on Athens Street.
And this is my opinion, I feel like that it's written like this because the impact might not be directly on Athens Street. The impact could also be the four-way well, that's got Athens Street on it, but you've got feeder roads, you've got Chattahoochee, and that feeds into Athens Street, and so the impact may impact those feeder streets, and we may need to use those funds for those streets versus Athens Street alone. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay. And I think that's why it's worded like it is. I don't think we're gonna take that money and go down here to Belton and use the money on Belton. The money's for the area feeding into Athens Street and Athens Street. If we solely put Athens Street, then we wouldn't be able to use those funds if we needed on Chattahoochee.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so maybe something along the lines of, Athens streets and any tributary to that street, maybe that.
I didn't have my mic on, I'm sorry.
This is in bad shape right now.
Y'all remember that for your motion, though, if you make a motion, make sure that the language you're comfortable with for that condition is stated.
How do you feel about in the impacted area? Would that say it? In the impacted area?
I would think, and I agree with what you're saying, Denise, is that, Athens Street's gonna take the primary impact of that, but any of the streets that cross, which there aren't many,
Right.
maybe we could just list those specific roads that feed into Athens Street. And that'll just make it where there's some clarity going down the road in case you're not here or anyone's still on the council, that that's how that funds will be used.
Somebody I know, right?
Yeah.
Maybe,
Is that?
maybe like Joe said.
Yeah, I didn't think.
Maybe like Joe said, the impacted streets, Athens Street and streets impacted by Athens, maybe.
Out of curiosity, what is the average cost of these homes projected to be?
I'm so sorry.
Sorry, what is your projected average cost on the homes?
That's gonna be market driven, however. Okay, thank you. I would expect that homes, this is market driven, but I would expect homes to be probably starting in the, I'll say 3s to the 4s.
That's part A, right?
Yeah. And they may escalate as the time goes on as well.
Part B would be 400 and part C was 600. I probably understand.
Yeah, as time goes on.
And this is what part B, which say reflects part C.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think to the mayor's point, as we get to the final 87 lots, prices they may start in the mid to high 3s at the initial phases, but then as we get towards the back, they'll be probably up in the 4s by then, for sure.
What percentage of homes in the existing development fit into this pod C?
Into the 87 lot phase?
No, into what you already have. What percentage of the homes had that 8-foot setback?
Do you know that?
No, side setback is what I'm referring to.
So that is
roughly half.
A little over half. Your pod A is 78 units, pod B
Yeah,
was
so it's about half.
126, and pod C was 108.
That's all I have.
Would you clarify again the use of 7th Street? Did you say earlier there was no access into this development, the additional development proposed from 7th Street, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. There's an emergency fire exit only, but that would again be not for everyday use. It would only be in the event that it was needed for fire emergency access, or if for some reason the road was blocked.
Is any of these homes gonna be rental?
25%. Okay.
Is that me? Okay.
There is a limitation of 25% will be in the HOA documents.
Correct.
And the HOA will be responsible for
Enforcement.
enforcement.
Yeah. And those documents, of course, they're recorded on the land, so it's a covenant that when you buy a home, you're obligated to live by them.
So will Carter Street be the same as 7th Street?
I'm sorry, what?
Just locked off?
Yes, with knock boxes. Yeah.
Emergency entrance only?
Right.
You think there'd ever be any plan for a future exit entrance there?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, our conditions are, I think it would take an amendment change to make that change.
They'd have to come back when they do that, because this is based upon the site plan they've submitted. So if they came back with that kind of major amendment to their site plan, they'd have to go through the process again to get approved.
They came before us, and this is 100%.
Look at item
If
16.
y'all don't mind to keep the conversations down in the back, because we have a hard time hearing it here. Thank you.
Frank, are you going to see those state that it needs to be a 10-foot side setback, is that correct?
Try it one more time.
Our UDC does state that there needs to be a 10-foot side setback, is that correct?
The way, not the UDC,
PUD.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
the
Zoning.
Now, their application and everything replicates Part C, and it's gonna be part of their application's asked for A. It replicates Part C, which was approved by council. It also replicates some of the other places we've looked at. So being it in the application and on the plans, that's what we went with. So it replicates what they have in existing.
Well, that's why I asked about the percentage.
Because Pod C was only, what, 50%?
50% of the last
The
one,
original.
It'll be 100% of this addition. And if we keep making that, we might as well write that in.
And that is where we're coming up to in the UDC reviews.
Right.
Is those portions.
Right, I asked Kevin this question when he was here originally for the 480. If we drop these setbacks to 10 foot on this, how many houses would we lose?
We'd have to do the math.
No more than two?
Two?
I'm guessing that.
Oh, no, I think it would be more than that. We'll do some math here. It'd be rough math, but.
I'd say
Because reason I asked, the original I had a question on 480, he said he dropped to 10. That's why I'm asking.
So it'd be 2 feet times 2.
The only thing we're not going to be able to change.
Seven to 8 lots, roughly. Now that assumes perfect geometry, so.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know it's a generalized question, but
I know y'all said 7th Street would be an emergency exit only with, just for fire. Is there a way that we're gonna be able to stop regular traffic from going in? Is there a gate or something?
There's a gate.
Okay,
fire access on.
okay.
Richard was just adding with the knockbox on it so that fire and emergency can get it, access it.
it's not for people driving in that.
Right.
I've got no more questions.
You got a question on council or planning commission?
The only question is more of a statement, more than anything, to the council on the with the original Moss Farm approval, there was a limit of 50% of pod C, which is the 8-foot setback. And I think that's done to avoid having just house after house after house just stacked against each other, and to give it a little bit more of a open development look. I would like for the council on theirs, as we go forward, consider maybe that same percentage, that 50% limit on these 87, or ever how many lots it would produce, to be at that 8-foot setback. The remainder of those could be in a variety of pod A and B, and it would still give that same aesthetics that you're getting in the Moss Farm development.
Hey, Ray. Hit you up with something else I want.
I think
He'll clarify, you know.
And I appreciate what you're saying. I think one of the complications is these lots are connected to Pod C. And so it would be, you know, one of the ideas was to have kind of same lots as we tie into them. So I get, is the question having 10-foot setbacks on some of these lots?
Right. And I understand you're continuing a pod C area, but basically what you've done by doing that is increase that 50% limit. I mean, it'll all ultimately be Moss Farms.
Yeah.
You know, so by adding this particular new addition of homes there, and all of them being the shorter setback distance, you're really, in essence, getting more in the 55–60% of all the Moss Farms, you know, would be the smaller setback homes. Just a word of consideration. I mean, just from the looks and the continuance of the development there.
Yeah, and that's something we can look at between tonight and, I guess, the council vote in between, and give some feedback.
Other questions or comments from council or planning commission?
Yep.
I will declare the public hearing closed, and for the planning commission, the matter would now be before the planning commission as to what action the planning commission would like to take, to recommend approval, recommend denial, or seek to table the matter to consider further.
I know that you wanted to do site visit, dead set on that?
You wanna go take a look at it a little further?
Yes, I mean, there was no public against it. You know, that was a big deal. There was none of that. The question asked about the cemetery was answered adequately, in my opinion. Yeah, it wouldn't affect it at all in the future. You know, I don't know how it would go as far as the standpoint of if everyone else agrees that the pod, see if that's a sticking point, and then the other point that we mentioned earlier, the verbiage on the funds being going to Athens Street, Cobb Street, or Carter Street, Chattahoochee Street only. So I don't know if we can approve, if it wanted to approve it with those, if there's not any other things, approve it based on those changes being made.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right, so I make a motion that we approve with 2 amendments. One, the Unit 6, under the staff recommendations, instead of saying any street improvements within the city of Lula, it would be towards street improvement projects on Athens Street, Carter Street, and Chattahoochee Street, which are the 2 feeder streets going into that. The other being with the pod that we discussed a moment ago, with the possibility of having an amendment there where only 50% of ever how many lots that live, 50% of the lots in the new addition being pod C, with the remainder of those being ARB.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that'll be the recommendation from the planning commission. There are no other items on the planning commission agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn the planning commission meeting?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All adjourned. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.